Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talking about a team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so you guys know me by now, okay? And if you don't, I'm going to tell you right up front. I'm not a huge fan of mainstream media, okay? I think that's a lot of script writers and a lot of script readers and a lot of narratives being pushed across your TV and streaming devices to kind of build something for more of an entertainment value than just actual content and actual facts, right? But it's always good to take a look and see what, the people around the league and the mainstream media is thinking about your Raiders going into this next season. So what we're going to do is take a look at a couple of different shows and what they're saying about the Raiders heading into training camp. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do. And it's the bare minimum you do support the channel, besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video. All right, first we're going to get into the boys over at First Things First, and let's see what they have to say about the Raiders.
And what's been going on last night in the same back room that they shoot Mind the Game in, right behind the plywood. An elite group of analysts, savants, and poker players who have never seen Rounders. Did you see it? You ever seen it? Malkovich is in it. It's funny.
Pretty good.
It's really good. He's got some Oreos. That's his tail. Oh, spoiler alert. Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all sports. It's an honor and it's a privilege to introduce a pre-training camp edition of Nick's Tiers.
Next, actual sleepers. So by that I mean this. Well, we'll get to what the other sleepers are in a moment, I should say. But if you have the guts, the courage to pick any of these four teams, much less multiple of these four teams, I think Wilds might pick 3 of these 4 teams.
Wow.
To make the playoffs, you get real sleeper bragging rights. Because these are teams that don't have real expectations this year. They don't have a lot of buzz. I know that they are somewhat show favorites, oddly enough. But those would be actual sleepers. And I think 2 of those 4 are going to be in the playoffs next year.
Wow.
Which 2? Wow. We discuss later.
All right, so little bit of a taster right there, right? The rest of the stuff was about other teams in the NFL. I don't want to bore you with that. It's all about the Raiders, right? So the Raiders were one of those actual sleeper teams. A lot of people are looking at the Raiders as a team like, let me take a look at this. Wow, they got what? They got who? Who's coaching them now? Look, this is my thing about the Raiders, and I'm just gonna blow by this and go to the next one because we're gonna get the same theme over and over again. They had probably one of the worst coaching staffs, one of the worst running back rooms, one of the worst pass catching cores, one of the worst quarterback rooms. They had a bad rooms all over the place, and they made significant upgrades in every single one of those. With all those bad rooms, or those bad sections of a team, we were still within 1 score of the game heading into the fourth quarter 7 times. 7 of our losses, we were within 1 score going into the fourth quarter. And there was an 8th game where it was 12-3 against Atlanta, where it was a very low-scoring game that could have gone to anyone. So that goes to show you in the NFL, games are tight, and these little changes can make big difference. All right, next up is our good buddy Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. He was doing a little bit of like a mailbag type of thing, and people were just sending him questions. And they asked questions about the Raiders, so let's take a peek.
Fight Cancer 81. Is there a chance the Raiders are finally competitive and will make the playoffs? What are the chances of the Eagles repeating in the Super Bowl? 2 for the price of 1. I think the Eagles could win another Super Bowl. That's easy. They're the most talented team in the NFL. The question is, can they continue to win and win and win with the target on their back getting larger and larger and larger? And then when we get to the postseason, can they beat the best teams they come across? And I think they can. Health is going to be a key there. As it relates to the Raiders, yeah, they can make the playoffs. Any team can make the playoffs. And I'm out of the Team X has no chance of making the playoffs because I've said that a couple of times over the last few years and I've been wrong. Bengals in 2021, Texans in 2023, just to name the 2 that I remember. No chance. No chance. Strong chance I'm a dumbass. So I won't say the Raiders have no chance. Is it going to be easy when you've got 3 playoff teams from last year in your division? The Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers? No, it won't be easy. And those teams seem to be better. But I'm a big believer in Pete Carroll. I'm a big believer in Geno Smith. and the Raiders will be overlooked. They can catch some people flat-footed. Yeah, I think they can make the playoffs. Now, again, health is going to be the key, especially if one of the other three teams has, a run of bad luck from a health standpoint. It opens the door. Yeah, I think the Raiders could. And I think the Raiders are moving in the right direction. They just probably wish they were moving in a direction other than ongoing membership in the AFC West.
Well, there you have it. It was not a resounding, vote of confidence by Mike Florio, but he did say a few things that were very true. Like I said after the last segment, even a bad team is within striking distance many games. No team gets blown out every single week. It just doesn't happen. It just takes a little bit of a tweak here and there to be able to turn those games where, you make a bad decision here or a bad decision there or a bad play or bad execution, and it really turns a game around. Talking about the last year's game against the Broncos when we were driving and we're going to be up, 3 scores, and ended up being a pick six. Now we're only up 1 score, and we ended up losing that game. So a lot of things have to happen right for you to make the playoffs, and a lot of things have to happen wrong for you to miss the playoffs and lose as many games as the Raiders did last season. And a lot of things did go wrong for them last season, and they've done a really good job of addressing those and the source of those things. So we'll see how that works out for us going forward. Okay, next are the boys over at the Rich Eisen show. Now, Rich Eisen was gone. It was Andrew Siciliano, I'm a fan of his, and they had a question about the Raiders as well. Let's take a peek.
What's more likely?
Never say never, but never.
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy Friday.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, everybody.
Andrew, Tupac or Biggie? Go. No, I'm just kidding.
Tupac or I'd probably say Tupac. I'd probably
Get it?
Yeah.
Tupac.
But I go back to like his Digital Underground days.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Count around when I hang
With
around
Money
with
B,
the underground.
exactly.
Get around.
Yeah.
Andrew, who's the more likely team to go worst to first this year?
Ooh.
Patriots, Titans, or Raiders?
Patriots, Titans, or Raiders? My answer again would be none of the above.
Of course, but that's not the game,
yeah,
Rich.
no, I get it.
Oh, Rich! I thought Rich wasn't here today.
I'd actually say Raiders.
Oh, wow.
Because I believe in Pete and I believe in Gino. Now, one would argue that the AFC South is an injury away from being the most winnable of those divisions. Right? And that when you consider Denver and the Chargers, obviously Kansas City, Denver, and the Chargers, that the AFC West is the most difficult of those divisions.
I think
However, Geno Smith is the most experienced and the best quarterback there of the 3 options you just gave me, even though Drake May has a very high ceiling, as does Cam Ward, about which I'm very excited to see Cam play.
Same.
But I think if you have Maxx Crosby and you have Geno and you have Ashton Genty and you got me a rejuvenated, gum-chewing Pete Carroll, I'm going to go Raiders, and that is not the choice that you thought I was going to give.
It is not. I kind of thought you'd say Titans.
Well, no, I didn't.
I know.
But I believe in Cam Ward. I'm excited to see him, yeah.
TJ, what do you think?
Raiders.
All right, so that's pretty telling for a guy like Andrew Siciliano, who watches a lot of football, who was involved in a lot of football for a lot of years over at the network in the Red Zone channel. This guy, I think he knows what he's talking about, and not just because he picked the Raiders, but because I really like his stuff. Well, it's very interesting that he picked the team most likely to go worst to first is the team that's in the toughest, by far the toughest division out of the 3 divisions that were selected, which was the AFC South, the AFC West, and the AFC East. You have to take a look at a couple of things. There's a lot of things that on the field, the 3 most important are the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback. I think out of those teams, the best head coach out of those 3 teams is Pete Carroll. The best offensive coordinator out of those 3 teams is Chip Kelly. And Andrew Siciliano said it himself. The ceiling may be higher in the future for Drake May and for Cam Ward. But as of right now, the best quarterback out of those three teams is Geno Smith. You take a look back and you're like, well, where is this coming from? How did Geno Smith become this great quarterback all of a sudden? Well, it's not so much being a great quarterback. It's having the comfort level and the familiarity with your coach to be able to relay that to the offensive coordinator, and also having an offensive coordinator who is one of the things he's known for is adjusting and changing his offensive philosophy and his game plan and his scheme for the players that he has. I have no doubts that this is going to be the perfect offensive system to help Geno Smith flourish. Also, other players around him flourish as well. When you put all that together, yeah, I think that it's the most likely out of those three teams. Because look, you still need to have talent to win in the NFL. It doesn't matter how bad the other teams are in the NFL. You still have to be able to win. A lot of people said last season, oh, well, look, Derek Carr's only have to worry about one team with the Saints, and you don't have to worry about the Bucks. Well, what happened? You still have to win the games yourself. You can't just hope on everyone else being terrible, right? Same thing is going on here. Is I think that the improvements made in those key positions that I mentioned are going to be enough to be able to boost the Raiders into the playoffs. And, Kansas City won a lot of one-score games last season, and it was a lot of stuff that was kind of up in the air as far as, a lot of questionable calls, stuff like that. And you get a lot of teams out there who play the Chiefs tough, and they're able to, improve as they go along, not just the Raiders, but also the Broncos and the Chargers as well. But, it's going to be a little bit tougher. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Chiefs to repeat again as AFC West champs. All right. Last one we're going to talk about is the guys over at CBS Sports. They have a little bit of a rundown, training camp issues, training camp stories going on, and we're going to look at what they say about the Raiders. Let's check this out.
As we address the biggest questions for each AFC West team heading into training camp season. Well, welcome back, John Breach and Tyler Sullivan. The Raiders had the number 2 behind Jaden Daniels, and that was Brock Bowers, who was a first-team All-Pro last season. It's a revamped offense, John, because you've got Chip Kelly coming back to the NFL for the first time in almost a decade, and a new quarterback in Geno Smith.
Yeah, Chris, it's a revamped everything. We have Pete Carroll at the top, so you have a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. And the biggest question for me is, what is Geno Smith going to look like in Chip Kelly's offense? Chip Kelly is very good at designing an offense around his best players. And as you mentioned, that is Brock Bowers. He is a talent. He is uncoverable. And so I think that what we're going to see is that Chip Kelly is going to have Brock Bowers on the field. He's going to have Mike Mayer out on the field. And this is going to be a tight end heavy offense. And then you look at what the Raiders did. It seems like the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers all had the same strategy because they all went out and got some running back help. And we saw the Raiders draft Ashton Jeanty with their first-round pick. So he is going to be heavily involved. And then, obviously, Geno Smith factors in there. So Chip Kelly kind of has a lot of chess pieces to play with here. And we've seen, look, he struggled as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, he's been quite brilliant. And I would not underestimate the Raiders at all this season. I think their offense could be surprisingly good due to the talent they have and the guy who will be calling plays.
Yeah, I'm with you, Breach. I'm bullish on the Raiders' offense. My question, though, comes on the defensive side of the ball, specifically the secondary at the cornerback spot. They really don't have anybody worth their weight in shoulder pads at the moment. They have a third-round rookie that's possibly going to start on the outside. They signed Eric Stokes, a former first-round pick, but they only signed him to a one-year, $4 million deal in free agency. Those are your possible starters, and Stokes last season gave up a passer rating of around 100. So I look at the Raiders a season ago. They were tied for the 5th most passing touchdowns allowed last season. They play in a division where it's Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix. Even if Geno Smith is able to unlock this offense, and Ashton Jeanty is supposed to be this dynamic figure out of the backfield, it might not mean much in terms of wins and losses if they're giving up a lot of plays in the secondary.
Very true, man. Look, it's something that I've said many times. If you've seen my videos before, and if you haven't, go back and take a look at them. Whenever I talk about the corner position or the defense in general, I'm very concerned about the corner position. I think there's a lot of talent there. I think they have good physical traits that fit what Pete Carroll wants to do, but you still got to go on the field and perform. And, one of the reasons why we gave up so many passing touchdowns last season is we were injured, for one, but also our offense was absolutely dreadful. Not only that, but we couldn't run the ball. So we weren't able to eat up time and eat up a big parts of the clock and play ball control because we couldn't run the ball. So what happens is, you can't move the ball and you can't eat up clock. You're giving the opponent a lot more chances to score points. That's why a lot of the opponents had a lot more drives per game because we couldn't, control the clock and we couldn't move the ball and get a lot of first down. So that's one of the things too. But also, it was the defense as well. And we were very injured in the secondary and also all throughout the defense. So these are things that need to be addressed. And just scoring more points is going to do the whole thing. It's going to help. It's going to help a lot. Just scoring a few more points last season, we probably would have gotten 2, 3, 4 more wins maybe. But ultimately, we need to have our defense match the improvement of the offense and really go out there and be one of those Raider defenses that we can be proud of. So overall, the mainstream media is favorable when looking at the Raiders because of all the improvements that we made. I'm going to go through them again. Last season, in 2024, we had probably one of the worst head coaches, if not the worst head coach out there. We had one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive coordinator out there. We had one of the worst, if not the worst, quarterback room out there. We had the worst rushing attack out there. So 4 huge things were the worst. We were one of the worst hit by injury on defense. You put all that together, and it's going to be a rough season, and it was. You get to this season, 2025, massive upgrade at head coach, massive upgrade at offensive coordinator, massive upgrade at quarterback, massive upgrade in the running back room. Hopefully the defense gets healthier and we're able to see some improvement there. But ultimately, man, we have a lot of improvement throughout this roster. And all we have to do is go on the field and prove that we're a Raider team that can be counted on. All right, guys, that's not time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's the Next Way Sports channel. It's absolutely free to do. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel. Besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video. Guys, keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm not going to belabor the point. Like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff. You guys are doing it. Hit the notifications. You guys are doing that. Also, share this show out to other people, and hopefully they like it as much as you guys do, and we'll go ahead and grow together. All right, guys, make sure everyone, please tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world is the greatest thing going in Raider Nation today. All right, guys, that's my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.